Hi everybody, I'm here for the Fresh New Voice of YA excerpt vlog, and I'm going to be reading from Secret Society by Tom Dolby. And I'm doing this really quickly before work, so yeah, so this is going to be like a pretty short excerpt, and yeah, and I just kind of just randomly found this excerpt as quickly as I could, um, and I think it's the end of chapter 4, and yeah. So, Nick is at his party that he's throwing, and he receives a mysterious text. So, here we go. The evening was flying by for Nick, as people kept grabbing him into clusters of conversation. Before he knew it, it was already half after midnight. He had posed for the requisite photographs and made sure everything was in order. The right people had indeed shown up, and save for the missing DJ and alcohol snafu, things were pretty much running themselves. He was finally able to pull himself away from a group that was doing shots and go up to the booth to check on Patch. "Everything okay?" he asked. His friend was hunched over the mixing board, his blue Old Navy hoodie almost making him look like a real DJ. Patch nodded. "I downloaded a few new tracks. It's going to kill." "People are texting me with all these requests," Nick said. "Check it out." Nick handed his phone to Patch, who copied down some of the songs that people wanted to hear. Nick saw his cell vibrating in Patch's hand. Patch suddenly gave him an uncomfortable look. "You've got another message." He quickly handed the phone back to Nick. It wasn't a request. Nick frowned. It was from an unknown number. 53 Gansevoort Street, 1 a.m. You know what to do. Nick found his hands trembling. He had heard of messages like this, but he wasn't sure exactly what it meant. He frowned again. "What's wrong?" Patch asked. "Nothing," Nick said quickly, hoping Patch hadn't seen the message. It was the type of thing you couldn't talk about. Patch's own cell phone was sitting next to the mixing board. No messages. Nick took a deep breath. He felt terrible lying to his best friend, but he had no choice. There were various things the message could mean, but he was pretty certain that this one was from the Society, a fabled secret group that supposedly recruited in early September of each year, starting with the incoming class of New York private school juniors. The little that he knew about the Society was that if you were invited to one of its gatherings, you went, no questions asked, and you didn't talk about it to anyone else. Besides, maybe Patch was going to be tapped. The only way Nick could find out would be to go. Why did Nick want to be a part of something like this? It was the kind of thing that said, you matter, you are important, you belong. Nick had pieced together rumors over the years. What he had gleaned was that the Society was a breeding ground for those who would go on to run the country, run the world. It was the kind of thing Nick had spent the past few years running away from, but now that he was in its midst, that he had received this strange invitation, he couldn't resist satisfying his curiosity. He felt like such a sellout, but he had to know what it was all about. Nick checked the time on his phone. "I have to go," he said. "You're going to leave your own party?" Nick sighed. He didn't know how he was going to explain this. "There's just something I have to take care of." He looked out at the crowd. They were oblivious, dancing, swaying to the music. They wouldn't miss him, not at all. And, yeah, I should probably get going. I'm going to be late as it is. But, let's see. I might be able to just, let me see how much time I have. Only 4 minutes. Okay, it should be fine. I'm just going to go through this really quickly. This is a few pages later where they're all outside 53 Gansevoort. Lauren pulled out her cell and examined the address. 53 Gansevoort. This was it. 2 enormous double doors, covered with stickers and graffiti, locked with a deadbolt. There was a shoddy, dirty buzzer on the right-hand side. We have to go here too, Lauren said. She reached forward and pushed the buzzer, looking back at Phoebe for reassurance. She was a little scared, although she felt this was the right thing to do. Sometimes things in Manhattan were simply strange. She wasn't going to let some late-night meeting in the meatpacking district freak her out. She looked back at Nick, who for the first time in all the years she had known him, seemed unsure of himself. There was no sound, but the door opened. Before the three of them had a chance to compare notes on what was going on and what they were doing, They were ushered inside by a man wearing a bespoke suit, a monocle hanging from his lapel. Inside was an enormous cavernous space, much larger than the underground club next door. Everything was pitch black except for a pathway lit by candles, wax dripping onto the concrete. Ahead of them, bathed in several pools of light, a party was in progress. The men wore a black tie and the women wore evening gowns, and everyone had a mask on. A waiter appeared, bearing a tray of drinks and martini glasses. Lauren accepted one and sipped it carefully. It tasted like a lemon drop. The music filling the air was big band swing. A black woman in a white sequined dress and a white fur stole was singing on a small stage in front of a band, shimmying along to the music. Lauren recognized the song. It was something her mother used to play when she was feeling nostalgic, Between the Devil and the Deep Blue Sea, a song about being stuck in love. Lauren looked at the 12 others who had entered with them, unidentifiable because they weren't dressed up or wearing masks. She knew a few kids from other schools. She recognized Alejandro Calleja, who was the son of an Argentinian billionaire, and Claire Chilton, whose mother was the head of the New York Junior League. Lauren wasn't particularly close to either of them. Alejandro was known to be a total player, and Claire was so uptight that Lauren suspected her ever-present headband was permanently affixed to her skull. Everyone looked apprehensive about where they were and what they were doing. After surveying the room, Lauren realized she and Nick and Phoebe were the only ones from Chadwick. "Lauren!" She heard her name and looked up. A woman not much older than she was and wearing a dress trimmed in feathers and a matching mask motioned her over. Lauren stepped forward, although she was starting to feel a bit woozy. She recognized, as she looked more closely, who it was. It was a girl a year older than her who had also grown up in the city, Emily Van Piper, someone who had never said more than a few words to her at a time. They embraced, and Lauren smiled. "I'm so glad you're here," Emily said. "Isn't this exciting?" Lauren nodded, although she didn't know exactly what was so exciting. It was, of course, all terribly glamorous. It was as if they were on the pages of a 1940s fashion spread, or at Truman Capote's black and white ball. Women smoked from long black cigarette holders, men drank champagne from coupe glasses or martinis brought by waiters on silver trays. If only she were wearing something more interesting. She looked down at her outfit, at her leather jacket, at her gray skirt and her little clutch, and she realized that it was perfect. She was the embodiment of downtown chic. She took another sip of her drink. She was the best-dressed person there. She turned back to find Phoebe, who was deep in conversation with an older gentleman. "I know your mother's work," he was saying. "It's quite striking. She's going to make some real waves in the art world. Just you wait." Phoebe introduced Lauren. "I can't believe any of this," Phoebe said. It's like a party. "It's like the best party you've ever been to," Lauren said. "I wonder when the masks come off," Phoebe said. "Oh no," the man said. "That doesn't happen. At least not until later. Much, much later." Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and stop. I have to get to work, so this won't be uploaded until later today, because obviously I need to leave right now, and so I don't have time to upload it to my computer, so this will be up, well, I guess you'll see it. You'll be watching this whenever, for the Friday night, as soon as I get home from work. So, thanks so much for watching, and tomorrow I have my review of Hush Hush by Becca Fitzpatrick. So please, 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 please read and comment on that, and read and comment on all the other posts happening this week. So, I will see you guys later. Bye.